Hi guys, it's Vanessa from To the Brim, and today I'm going to walk you through putting a coat of epoxy on a beach tumbler and adding the waves and the clouds. So here I'm just putting a thin layer over the glitter. After I did the sand and the glitter, I did put a very thin layer of epoxy to seal it in. So now I'm just going ahead and putting another coat on, which will make the waves and the clouds flow when I hit them with the heat gun. You are going to find that the sand area is a little bit bumpy at this point, and that's okay because you're going to put one or two more coats of epoxy on after this, and you're just going to keep putting layers of epoxy on until the sand areas feel smooth. So now I'm mixing up just a small amount of epoxy with a couple drops of white alcohol ink and 1 drop of white acrylic paint. You don't want to use too much acrylic paint because it's going to make the epoxy very gummy and stringy because the acrylic paint is water-based and the epoxy is not. So use more alcohol ink if you need to get the right color. On this cup, I am going to put some light waves and some light clouds. So I'm going to show you how to begin putting those on there and then hitting them with the heat gun. So at this point, I'm going to start at the bottom, and you just make a little strip all the way across, and you let the tumbler turn, and as you run out, you just dip your popsicle stick back in your white epoxy mix. I've done several of these cups, and sometimes I make the waves thicker, sometimes I make more rows. It all depends on how your glitter turns out and what you kind of envision for that specific cup. So then as I work my way up to the sky, I make clouds. So I don't bring the strip of white all the way around. I do it in sections because clouds are not one continuous thing. And so as it spins, the epoxy with the alcohol ink and the acrylic paint in it is going to start to move around a little bit. And once you get all of the waves and the clouds on the way that you like them, you are going to hit all of those areas with the heat gun in short bursts to heat up the epoxy layer that you put on before the white layer, and to get things to kind of start to flow and move and feather around. And you're going to get a really nice effect. It's going to look like waves. It's going to look like clouds. One thing you can do with the heat gun is do short bursts on the clouds in an upward motion and then a downward motion. You can do the same thing with the waves also, depending on how many rows of waves you're doing. And as long as you're making sure that you're not hitting any one area for too long, because then what's going to happen is if it's the clouds, it's going to get so runny that as the cup turns, the clouds are going to end up just being stripes that go all the way around the cup. So you don't want that. So you want to hit the clouds in short bursts. But as you can see, they're starting to kind of migrate and move and fluff up a little bit. And now I'm adding a little bit more waves to the shoreline there. I did put some chunky iridescent glitter at the line between the sand and the water. And so I think that this looks really nice, adding a little bit of extra foam to the waves. And then I'm going to hit that with the heat gun as well. And then as I looked at the cup, I decided that I wanted to add more waves to the water and the beach. So I went ahead and did that and then hit those with the heat gun. You're going to see me hit this cup with the heat gun, and I'm talking about actually hitting the cup with the heat gun. You don't want to do that. It doesn't really show in the end, but I have horrible depth perception. So once this layer of epoxy is cured, I put another layer of epoxy on there, and then when the cup feels smooth to me, I use my Cricut to cut out seagulls and sandpipers, footprints, lighthouses, palm trees, whatever the customer wants and is meaningful to them. If somebody wants their name on it, or I also offer to put a moon sign from a meaningful date in someone's life. So let's say they got married on the beach. They can give me the specific date that they got married, and I can look up the moon phase from that day and put that moon in the sky. You can do anything. You can make this a sunset cup, or you can do it like this. But I use real sand. This is sand from Maine. And you can even have people send you sand from their vacations, and you can make the cup even more meaningful.